Welcome to the February 2026 Soul Forecast. The theme of this month is trust. Now, this is not from an astrological perspective or using tarot cards. It is from a soul perspective. Trust is elusive, or so it should be. It is more than a word or a feeling. It is a soul commitment. Now, I had no intention of creating a monthly soul forecast. However, I was very much urged from the universe, the divine, the other side, to put this together. And I have learned, unfortunately, the hard way. When I say no, I always have a lesson to learn. So again, this is from a soul perspective, and I absolutely support astrology and tarot cards. This is about what the soul needs to be reminded of as the earth both devolves and evolves. So I agreed to this assignment. And this is a supportive forecast, a lifeline in a way from the other side. Not to predict or warn, but to steady you. To gently say that something important is asking to be seen. Something important is asking to be seen. So where does trust begin? Well, we arrive on Earth, vulnerable and needing help. We are open to trust and love from the very beginning. Parents or caregivers become the early educational building blocks for trust and love. Or, in some unfortunate cases, they become the educators meant to undo them as part of our soul training. I'm not here to blame. I'm just here to recognize that this occurs. I have watched people say they love, but they do not trust. I watch the words come out of the mouth that they really love somebody, but they just do not trust them. This is not a truthful equation. Love without trust cannot fully root or remain steady. Now, I received a phrase, internal trust versus external trust. And I really wasn't given the follow-up until 2 days later. And it was, you cannot trust another person without first trusting yourself. And you cannot trust the God of your understanding without trusting yourself first. that line was difficult for me to process. You cannot trust the God of your understanding without trusting yourself first. When internal trust is missing, it is often sought externally through people. Certainty, reassurance, control. And I suggest that is also one of the kernels that create codependency and enabling. February asks us to gently bring that trust back home into ourselves. It took me a long time to unravel and separate myself from family enmeshment. I had to learn to live for myself rather than for others. That separation became a necessary prelude to trusting myself. I had to trust myself in all ways, my own judgment, what I was thinking, and ultimately my actions. When I became ill, trust was no longer theoretical. I had to trust that my own choices would lead me toward wellness. I entered into a partnership with myself first. And only then could I ask the divine for help in a meaningful way. I made a bold decision during illness and pain. I moved from my northern state to a southern one. It was not comfortable, and it was not easy. But I trusted that this move would save my life. And it did in many ways, in many unexpected ways. Trust is more than inner alignment. It is the ability to see life as it is, to observe it and not to judge it, to hear but not take in what is not yours. It is that alignment within yourself. Trust is a step toward love. You cannot have love without self-trust. Now, you can always check with your favorite astrologer about the planetary alignments in February 2026. I asked why trust matters in February. And from a soul perspective, what was given to me is quieter and more personal. February is a time to gently separate yourself from others, but not through withdrawal. It invites you to notice who you trust and who you do not trust. And most of all, it asks you to check in with yourself and see whether you trust you. And I think that's the ultimate question of this month, whether you trust you. If you trust yourself, trusting the God, the universe of your understanding, becomes a natural extension. And if you do not trust yourself, This month offers an opportunity to become curious about why, and without any self-blame. I feel it's a rare occurrence when the universe says, trust yourself first, then connect to me. February reminds us that guidance does not replace self-trust. It grows from it. You do not need to resolve anything or everything this month. Just the awareness is enough, and honesty is enough. Trust grows quietly through listening rather than force. This reflection is part of the work we do here on the Wising Soul, a space, a sanctuary for wisdom growth and transformation. If you're new, you are welcome. And if you've been here for a while, thank you for returning. If this reflection resonated, or you're curious, you're welcome to like, subscribe, and or share it with someone who may need it. Because as I say, we are all wising up together.